Yes. Yeah. Yeah, morning all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes. Yeah. Can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear or not?
Yeah, it's clear.
Right. Thank you. So generally, Django. See, Python has got some frameworks. Many frameworks are available for Python. Frameworks of Python. Frameworks of Python, right? Yes. Frameworks of Python. Django framework. We say Django, right? D silent. Django framework. FLASK framework. Pyramid framework. Bottle framework. Turbo gear. Django framework, FLASK framework, pyramid, bottle, and turbo gear. So these are the frameworks of Python. Among all this, Django is the mostly used framework of Python. Mostly used, and it has got more flexible features. Very less coding, we can develop the applications in Python. Mostly used one. And Flask also, right? So these both I'll be discussing. I'll pass part of this course. Mostly the Django applications creations. So mostly used framework of Python. So talking about, right, you want to have a career in Python, this framework is compulsory. Django framework, you need to have the knowledge on this framework, right? So Python full stack developer, right? Python full stack. Yes. Generally in Python, we see three positions. In Python world, there are three positions. There are three positions. We say like backend developer, right? Yes. Secondly, like front-end developer. And full stack developer. You need to clearly understand this. Full stack developer. Backend developer, front-end developer, and full stack developer. Backend developer. Backend developer, right? Generally, the deals with logic. Deals with logic. Generally, backend developers, I'll just provide multiple examples. So backend developer, right? Yes. Deals with logic and the flow of data. Front-end developer. Front-end developer. Responsible for how data appears. How data appears to users. Front-end developers, right? How data appears to the users. Means generally, right, this front-end developers, what they do, that is how good data is presented, right? That is how good the data is presented on the web page. Responsible for how data appears to the users, and that is how good the data is presented on the web page. Full stack developer, right? Full stack developer. You need to have the knowledge about all these things, right? Back end, front end, right? Bridge the gap between the two positions, right? Between the about two positions. Backend deals with logic and the flow of data. Front-end developer responsible how data appears to the users. That is how good the data is presented on the web page. Full stack developer bridges the gap between the above two positions. First, talking about the front-end technologies. Talking about the front-end technologies, 1 second. Front-end technologies, right? Yes. Example of front-end technologies. Examples of front-end technologies, right? Anyone? Anyone?
HTML, CSS, JavaScript.
Yes.
HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Yes.
Bootstrap.
HTML, CSS. JavaScript, right? Yes. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap. Okay, all this comes into the JavaScript, right? Yes. Next, HTML. Generally, why we go for HTML? Generally, why we go for HTML? Yes. Anyone?
To display on browser.
For creating the web pages.
HTML, right? For presenting data on the web page. Presenting data on the web page means using HTML tables, using HTML images, forms, frames, lists, using all that, right? You are going to organize the data on the web page using this HTML. And using CSS, what you do? The name itself saying CSS, cascading style sheets.
We will apply the styles on the data. Presenting the
For adding styles. Generally, we'll be adding styles to what? Adding styles to HTML.
HTML tags.
Tag.
Yeah.
for adding styles to HTML. And if we talk about Bootstrap,
It's a predefined styles we are using.
yes, predefined styles. Already we have got predefined and build styles will be available. We will be using those predefined styles. JavaScript. See, HTML is static.
For dynamic updates,
For adding dynamic
dynamic nature to the web page.
for adding the for adding dynamic nature to the web page. HTML for presenting data on the web page. CSS for adding styles to HTML. Bootstrap for predefined styles, and for adding dynamic nature to HTML pages. Right. Generally, if we talk HTML and HTML with JavaScript and combination only HTML and HTML and JavaScript. Just observe this. See, HTML alone is not sufficient, right? HTML alone is not sufficient for interacting with the web pages. So HTML along with the CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript. So for different styles and adding dynamic nature to the web page. HTML for static responses. And HTML and JavaScript. If we talk HTML plus JavaScript, dynamic responses, dynamic okay, for example, for displaying data,
Displaying the time and any responses with varies with respect to the time.
okay, for example, for displaying data, I'm saying good morning.
Uh, Dynamically updating the weather data on the web page.
For displaying normal data,
Good
just
morning.
normal data, if we say HTML is enough. HTML is enough. Static response. For dynamic responses means yes. For dynamic response. Now, for example, dynamic response with respect to time. With respect to time means, for example, display current date and time. Display current date and time. If you check today's date and time. If you check tomorrow's date and time means it's not static. Every time the time, date and time will be changing. So here HTML alone is not sufficient. So we need to add JavaScript for these things. JavaScript. JavaScript is also interpretation language. I'll be discussing about this JavaScript. So for dynamic responses, you will go for it. For dynamic responses. You talk about the static or dynamic response. Static response. What is static response? If response is not varied,
Over the time.
if response is not varied from time to time, if response is not varied from time to time, We talk about home page of an organization. Home page of an organization, Or if you talk about the home page of SBI, login page, Facebook. The response not varied, right? Dynamic response. If I talk about the dynamic response, right? Dynamic response. If response is varied from time to time. Example. Gmail inbox. Balance sheet. For example, balance sheet. Or this balance page of SBI. Will be changing from time to time, right? Your balance page won't be static, same, always be changing from time to time, right? So this is regarding this HTML, this or everything we'll have discussion on this HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Bootstrap. We'll be having discussion on this UI technologies before we go with Django framework. Second is like backend. What do you mean by backend? Yes, sir.
Business logic.
Whenever you give
Business
some
logic and flow.
whenever you give some request, you need to give some you need to get some response, right? Whenever you are giving some request, you need to get some response. Means what to display as response. What to display as a response to the end user. Here we have, okay. We have 4 components. Here we have 4 components. Language. What language to choose? Secondly, what framework to choose? Means it doesn't mean that people generally backend means generally they say which language, either Python or Java, which backend you are using. Or so it involves which language, which framework, which database. Generally, most of the people have some confusion backend. Okay, front end means you will be saying HTML, CSS, these things. Front end means they will say HTML, CSS. Back end means they will say some of them say it's database, what database or what language. So we have 4 back end, which language, which framework, which database, and apart from that, if you are using any IDE, which IDE you are using. Language means which language like Python or Java. Python, Java, or whatever. Framework, which framework if you are using Java, okay, if you are using Python, which frameworks like Django framework. I said we have got multiple framework. Django and Flask are the mostly used frameworks. Django, Flask, Pyramid. Bottle framework, Turbo Gear. Django, Flask, Pyramid, Bottle, Turbo Gear. Database.
SQL and
NoSQL database.
Oracle,
Oracle, or SQL Server
SQL, PostgreSQL, and NoSQL.
in this way, right? Anything. What database? And if ID, Python has
PyCharm
got
and
Python has got its own database. Python has got its own database also, right? SQLite 3. SQLite 3. For lightweight, we'll be using this. For heavyweight, we'll go with this MySQL, Oracle, these things. And ID,
PyCharm VS
ID you can go with PyCharm. Understood what is front end and back end. What is like a full stack web development? Full stack web development. It is a process of developing both front end. It is a process of developing both front end as well as back end web application. Full stack web application is a process of developing both front end as well as back end web applications. For example, roles and responsibilities. Roles and responsibilities. Roles and responsibilities of Python full stack developer, right? First thing, developing and managing web applications. Web applications. Developing and managing web applications. Working with the databases. Working with databases.
database. Working with templates at front end.
Templates. Developing and managing web applications, working with the databases. They need to have the knowledge on these databases and developing these web applications, working with templates. Templates is nothing but, what do you mean by templates? Nothing but using this front-end technologies. Using this front-end technologies, right? We'll create some templates. Using this front-end technologies, right? Yes. Next, working with the back-end.
Back end technologies.
They're working with templates, working with the backend technologies, and you need to have knowledge on this web server, working with web server. All right.
And the logical and problem solving skills.
Yes. So you need to have, okay, before we go with this, before we go with this, you need to have this knowledge on this web terminologies. Web terminologies. What is www? What is www, right? And difference between the World Wide Web, this is www, and internet, and a web page. What is a web page? Web application. Web browser. Web server. World Wide Web. So whenever you are creating a web application, the full form of www is World Wide Web. I can say it is a system of internet servers. System of internet servers. That supports hypertext documents. It is a system of internet servers that supports hypertext documents. That supports hypertext documents. These documents only we call it as web pages. These documents are called as web pages. That supports hypertext documents, right? These documents are called as web pages. The starting point of a document, the starting point in a document is known as a home page. The starting point in a document is known as a web home page. So the World Wide Web is a system of internet servers that supports hypertext documents. These documents are called as web pages. The starting point of a document is known as a home page. Generally, web pages, any web pages are identified with URLs. Web pages are identified by their URLs. Web pages are identified by their URLs. URLs means, for example, facebook.com, example, facebook.com, gmail.com. And secondly, internet. Difference between World Wide Web and internet. It is a huge network of network. It is a huge network of network. Well, www is a service of internet. It is a huge network of network. World Wide Web is a service of internet. A web page. It's a document which is written. Document which is written in HTML, which brings together all the text, which brings together all the text, images, audio, video, hyperlinks, document which is written in HTML, which brings together all the text, images, audio, video, hyperlinks, etc., all at one place. What is a website? Means a collection of web pages. I can say it is a website. It is a group of, I can say it is a group of interlinked. It's a group of interlinked web pages. Group of interlinked web pages, which has a single domain name. Web application. Web page, document which is written in HTML. Website, it is a group of interlinked web pages. And web application. Web application, an application. An application which runs on a web server. An application which runs on a web server. An application which provides application which provides service over the web. An application which provides service over the web, which provides service over the web. The software, I can say simple way, the software. Web browser means the software used for browsing. The software used for browsing or submitting the request. Software used for browsing or submitting the request. Example of this browser: Chrome, Firefox, Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer. Server means the software used for browsing, web browser, submitting the request. That is Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, web browser, right? The software that provides the users with the required documents to the web browser. Web framework, right? It is a code library. Web framework, it is a code library. It is a code library, right? Yes. Yes. It is a code library which helps to build flexible web applications, right? So these are the things you need to understand. What is a web application? What is a web framework? what is web server, what is web browser, what is a website, what is a web page. Web page means document written in HTML, brings together all the text, images, audio, video, hyperlinks at one place. Website, it is a group of interlinked web pages which has a single domain. Web application, which runs on a web server, which provides service over the web. Web browser, the software used for browsing or submitting the request. Web server that provides the users with the required documents. And web framework, it is a code library, right? Which deals with web flexible web applications. Web framework, already I said, right? Example of this web framework, DJANGO, FLASK, all this. DJANGO and FLASK are the most famous frameworks. DJANGO, FLASK. So here we are going to follow MVT architecture. MVT. MVT. M means model. V means views. Model view. T indicates template. T indicates model view template. MVT, model view template, sorry. Model view template. Generally in Java we see MVC, right? MVC, model view controller, model view and control. But here in Python, model view template, it follows model view template. You need to understand how this interaction between this model view and template, how the interaction is going to happen between the model view and template. See, templates using these templates, right? Templates, right? Using templates, you're just going to design a web page using templates. A web page. View. View means model view templates. View means where you write the business logic. View is nothing but where you write the Python. So this web page using these templates, using this HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap. And here view, this is view. This is templates. And this is model. Model means interaction with the databases. How this interaction? So first a web page, and this web page data, if you're entering any, for example, a registration page or a login page, a template is created. And if you enter the data, if you hit the submit button, then this view is going to take the data from this and will store the data in the database. So in the templates, if you're designing a registration page, and this, whenever you hit the submit button, then whenever that internally the Python will take the data and store in this database. And tomorrow, if you want the data to be retrieved from the database, Python will take the data. Python will take the data from this database and again displays on this web page. Python is going to take the data from these models, that is databases, and going to display. This interaction between this model, view, and templates. Model view templates means like views means like Python business logic implementation. Business logic you'll be writing in the views. Data models means databases. Templates by using this HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And talking about this, so IDs. So the IDs that we are going to use, PyCharm Professional. The ID is right, PyCharm Professional. Integrated development environment in ID is right. First one, PyCharm Professional, right? PyCharm Professional. PyCharm Professional. It is a licensed one. It is a licensed one, right? But it will give 1 month free trial. It will give 1 month free trial, right? But I'll show you on this how to run within this PyCharm Professional. Community, for the community, right? Only with Python you can work, but with the Django, you won't see that option for Django in that community. PyCharm community, you won't see any option for the Django framework. So we need to go with PyCharm Professional only. But okay, after 1 month, your free trial is elapsed, right? Then how we can go, I'll be discussing, right? How we can work within this professional without any license, then how we can go ahead. And also in VS Code. VS Code is an open source, right? It is an open source. No need of any license for that. And work with that. Okay. Sorry, which one? VS Code. In these two IDs, I'll be showing you how to work with this. So nearly like 15 applications will be developing. Around 15 applications will be developing, right? You will be getting the entire thing. Means steps involved. Various, for example, various steps involved. Various steps involved. Steps involved in creating a project. First, activating the virtual environment, creating a project, creating application, providing URLs, writing the business logic, submitting the request. So we have got the first 3 steps or 4 steps, first 2, 3 steps, right, will be common to every application creation. For every application creation, the first 3 steps will be common. Steps in application creation. Steps in application creation. Activating virtual environment. Activating virtual environment. What do you mean by this actual environment? Virtual environment means another copy of Python. Creating another copy of Python without disturbing the original copy of this Python. What are modifications, changes you are making that should not affect the original Python, right? So we need to create one virtual environment. Okay, that process I'll be discussing next. Creating a project. Next, step 3, creating an application. Generally, whenever you create an application, we'll see many applications available in. Okay? So adding our application, installed apps. There'll be many apps, installed apps will be there. Adding our application to installed apps means within the settings.py. Within the settings.py, you can see that. Views, I thought about views, right? Writing the business logic. Writing business logic within views.py. Within views dot APY file will be there. Within that, you will be writing the business logic implementation. Migrate. Migrate. If any errors displays here, if any errors will display here. But the full-fledged, the migrate functionality will be discussing, right? But as of now, if any errors will be displayed here. Run server. Run server. Starting the server. Giving request in the Brave browser. Giving request in the web browser. Creating a project. So for creating a project, right, the command we have got DJANGO-admin. DJANGO-admin. Start project. Project name. Project name, right? DJANGO-admin start project name. For creating an application, the command Python manage.py start app application name. Py manage.py start app application name. This is the command which creates an application. That is a command which starts a project. Migrate. Python manage.py migrate, we should say. Python, whatever you want to do, everything by using this manage.py. If you want to create an application, manage.py required. If you want to migrate, this manage.py required. If you want to run server also, right? Python manage.py run server. So these are the things. Just for your practice purpose, I'll just show you one application, how simple developing. See, main advantage of the Django framework, at a rapid speed, you can develop a web application with very less coding. Sample web application, just without any knowledge of this Django framework. Just first, I'll show you one web application creation in this tomorrow's class. And later I'll come with UI technologies, HTML, CSS, right? Yes. So, here. You will be getting the live session video. Each and every session is video recorded. You will be getting the record even if you miss the session, as it's these classes will be only on Saturdays and Sundays because of some work or because of some other things. If you miss the session, you can go to the video and attend the next session for better understanding. Clear steps, clear soft copy of the notes, right, with clear steps. And also you need to develop your own applications. So assignments and tasks to work with. So you can develop your applications by your own. Some 15 to 20 applications I'll be discussing. Nearly like 15 applications you'll be developing by yourself, nearly 30. So next, a WhatsApp group. If you got any errors, you can just take the snap and post it. All the sessions will be interactive, and mostly you'll be doing along with me parallelly, right? If any errors, you will be sharing the screen. A WhatsApp group will be created for this. Hands-on hands-on, where you will be doing along with me, not watching the session. You'll be doing parallel along with me step by step. Hands-on interactive. Any queries you can ask then and there. 15 to 20 apps creations. Applications creation. Okay, fine. So this is just an introductory session on this Django framework. Django is the important framework of Python. So full stack developer, if you want to become a Python full stack developer, you need to have the knowledge on this front end and back end, right? So like HTML, CSS. So first, I'll be discussing about this HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Bootstrap before I go with Django framework. Yes, what are the backend things and what are the different roles? What different terminologies like World Wide Web, Internet, web page, website, web application, web browser, web server. And it follows MVT architecture and the IDs we use like PyCharm and VS Code steps in applications creations, right? This thing. Okay. Okay, fine. See, you can see in the chart, right? If you're not enrolled for this, try to get enrolled. The online team, they have forwarded the details. If you have got anything, you can just contact them, right? And the payment details, everything, their contact details. So tomorrow you'll be getting a new link, right? So those who have got enrolled, you'll be getting the link to your mail IDs. Those who didn't enroll, try to enroll and try to get the link what is for tomorrow's class. So by today afternoon, by 4 o'clock, you'll be getting the link to your mail IDs. If you're not got and if you're enrolled, if you're not got, you can call on this numbers. Yes.
It is starting at 8:30 and ending at what time?
So yes, 8:30 to 10:30,
Okay. It is a 2 hour.
2 hours.
Hours. Okay. And
Yeah.
it will
And
go for 10 weeks.
yes. So those people who have already enrolled for full stack course, right? Students who have already enrolled for full stack Python and full stack, they can attend, right? But people who have enrolled only for Python, right? You can enroll for that Django framework also. Mm. Okay.
Sir, I've enrolled for full stack, basically Python and Django. So
So
I'll be
any of my students who have already enrolled for Python full stack, right? They can directly attend. You'll be getting the link directly to your mail. They'll be forwarding to you, right? If they
okay.
are not forwarded, you can just call in and check with that, right? Otherwise, you can message me.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, fine. Yes. Sometimes after entering into this, right, I'll be taking some extra sessions also. I'll pre-intimate, right? Fine. 10 weeks it goes, around 10 weeks it goes. Yeah, from tomorrow onwards, we'll be starting with the thing. So tomorrow you can check the new link. Tomorrow a WhatsApp group will be created. From tomorrow onwards, you'll see daily you'll be getting the videos to your Google Drive. Notes will be forwarded. Fine. Any other queries from your side? Anyone? Right. 2 hours.
Hi, sir. Saroj here. Sir, can you please stay in this call for 5 minutes once everyone leave this class?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
So, otherwise you can just message or call on this number if you have got any query. If you got anything, right, you can message or call on this if you got any query. Fine. Any other things, right? Anyone? Fine. So tomorrow we'll meet at 8:30 with a new link. So check with that. You'll be getting the link to your mails. Fine. So stopping for now. Today just the introductory class. Tomorrow we'll go with the actual class. Right?